King Charles and Queen Camilla will make history. King Charles's coronation is right around the corner, ushering in a new era for the royal family. Well, new and old. King Charles and Queen Camilla will be the oldest monarchs ever. And that's not the only way these two are making history. Number 1. Oldest British monarch. King Charles is 74 years old, which officially makes him the oldest monarch to ever ascend to the throne. And we're counting kings and queens from over 1,000 years ago. Before King Charles, the oldest king ever was King William IV, who was crowned at age 64 in 1830. Charles is a full decade older. His mother, the late Queen Elizabeth II, was only 25 years old when she became monarch. That's a pretty huge responsibility for someone in their 20s. With age comes wisdom, so we think Charles is more than ready for the job. Number 2. Oldest Queen Consort. Charles isn't the only one setting records for his age. His wife, Queen Camilla, is actually over a year older than him, and at age 75, she'll be the oldest Queen Consort ever. The previous record holder was Queen Alexandra. Alexandra was 58 years old when her husband, King Edward VII, took the throne in 1901. Before that, the record holder was Prince George, who was 49 when his wife, Queen Anne, ascended in 1702. The longest-serving heir apparent. While Charles's and Camilla's record-breaking ages are partly due to people living longer than they did in the past, another huge factor is the fact that Queen Elizabeth II was the longest-serving British monarch of all time. She ruled from 1952 to 2022. That's over 70 years. And because his mom was on the throne for so long, Charles is the longest-serving heir apparent in royal history. He was born in 1948, 4 years before his mom took the throne, so he was heir to the throne for her entire reign. That's a long time to wait around to be king. Number 4. A modern ceremony. King Charles's coronation is in May, and he wants to modernize this prestigious royal tradition. Last year, when the official date was announced, Buckingham Palace confirmed that the coronation will reflect the monarch's role today and look towards the future, while being rooted in long-standing traditions and pageantry. Translation: expect the typical royal traditions, but don't be surprised if Charles incorporates his own modern twist. Guess we'll have to find out what this means on the big day. Number 5. Inviting Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. King Charles's relationship with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle has been fraught with drama the last few years. After Harry wrote about his family in his tell-all book, Spare, their relationship seems worse than ever. But despite their estrangement, King Charles has invited his son and daughter-in-law to his coronation in May. Some tabloids report it's because Charles wants to help his image as a distant parent, and he's worried if they're not there, the scandal will overshadow his crowning. Other sources say Charles wants to make peace and heal past wounds. Either way, Meghan and Harry have yet to RSVP to the king's coronation. Number 6. Celebrity guests. The last time there was a coronation was 1953. Back then, having a big coronation concert with famous musicians wasn't exactly a possibility. After all, this is before rock and roll music even existed. But in 2023, a glitzy celebrity event is practically expected. King Charles allegedly wanted British artists like Adele, the Spice Girls, Harry Styles, Elton John, and Ed Sheeran to perform in honor of his crowning. But all of these acts turned him down. Buckingham Palace still hasn't officially confirmed the musical acts, but rumors are swirling that the coronation concert will feature Andrew Lloyd Webber and Lionel Richie. Number 7. The first coronation of the 2000s. This is the first coronation of the 21st century, and since the Queen was crowned in 1953, so much has changed, including the role of the British monarch. 70 years ago, most of the Queen's subjects didn't really question her power. But in modern times, after so many royal scandals and political issues, that blind allegiance is slowly disappearing. How will young people react to the pomp and circumstance of the king's coronation? We'll just have to wait and see. Number 8. Streaming everywhere. Back in 1953, more than 20 million people watched Queen Elizabeth's coronation on television. This was the first time in history that the television audience outnumbered those listening on the radio. It was a big deal, but 70 years later, 20 million people isn't much at all. To put that in perspective, Prince William and Kate Middleton's 2011 wedding was watched by an estimated 2 billion people around the world, making it the most watched event in history. Will Charles's coronation beat the 2 billion mark? Number 9. Ditching outdated customs. There are a bunch of rules that King Charles has to follow at his coronation, but he's decided to change a few outdated customs. For example, he won't wear silk stockings and breeches like past kings. He thinks they look too old-fashioned. Instead, Charles will wear a military uniform. Instead of long ceremonial robes, Charles's peers will be allowed to wear suits. Finally, unlike past monarchs, Charles won't be presented with a bunch of gold bars. Bummer! Number 10. Inclusivity. King Charles made a point to shout out religions that weren't Christianity in his 2022 Christmas broadcast. He mentioned churches, synagogues, mosques, temples, and gurdwaras. If Charles's coronation is anything like his Christmas speech, it will definitely strike a more inclusive note. After all, it's 2023. People think King Charles's coronation should reflect a modern Britain. What do you think will change when Charles is crowned? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Thing Celebrity for more on your favorite celebs.